All right, welcome back to Politically Homeless. My name is Dave. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. Big headline here. Russia, the U.S., is at war against us. Now, one news station reported this here in the United States, or probably in all of Western media yesterday. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov blasted the U.S. for waging a proxy war in Ukraine. The Washington-led North Atlantic Alliance has transferred nearly $100 billion in military aid to Kiev. According to Nikki Haley, it's a drop in the bucket, right? Just a couple of drops. Lavrov said the White House was controlling Ukraine's military decisions. Duh, okay? But the difference here is that Lavrov is telling the truth and the United States is pretending that this isn't happening, and we all know that it is happening. On Sunday morning at the Eastern Economic Forum, the Russian diplomat explained Moscow's position. No matter what it says, the U.S., controls this war. It supplies weapons, munition, intelligence information, data from satellites. It is pursuing a war against us, Lavrov said. By the way, who's been sending up a lot of hardware lately? Satellites. I'm talking about these Starlink satellites. Elon Musk, right? And we know that Elon is certainly a partner with the U.S. government and still doing censorship over on his wonderful platform called X, formerly Twitter. According to the Kiel Institute, the U.S. and its allies have transferred slightly under $100 billion in weapons to Ukraine. We can't send $5 billion, though, over to Maui. We can't do that. We sent $700 checks to Maui. And this, of course, is since the start of the war. But it's still $100 billion. Additionally, the West has trained thousands of Ukrainian soldiers and provided Kiev with other military support, such as targeting and intelligence. Lavrov said the proxy war the West is waging against Russia in Ukraine was a long-planned effort aimed at Moscow's strategic defeat. He stated, while what is going on is that Ukraine has long been prepared for inflicting strategic defeat to Russia using its hands and its bodies. Of course, the ratio of soldiers dying, Ukrainian soldiers dying, compared to Russian soldiers dying, I think Scott Ritter says it's like 8-1, 10-1. Last week, the Wall Street Journal reported the White House was considering escalating support for Ukraine by sending long-range ATACMS missiles with a range of 190 miles. Lavrov was asked how Moscow may respond if Washington provides Kiev with the rockets. He says, I am unable to comment on their statements, but the fact that it will not change the essence of what is going on in Ukraine is obvious, he explained. So he's basically saying, send the rockets, Ukraine is still going to lose. The UK has previously sent Storm Shadow cruise missiles to Ukraine with a range of about 300 miles. Ukraine has used those long-range weapons to attack the Crimean Peninsula. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Washington no longer objects to Kiev using Western-provided weapons to launch an attack on Russian territory. So now they're basically saying, just go ahead and use this stuff, and you can go ahead and attack. You don't just defend your turf. You can now attack Russian territory, which again is a full-blown war. In separate comments made on Friday, Lavrov said Washington's effort extends beyond the proxy war in Ukraine to a global campaign to isolate Moscow. He explained that the West attempted to use a recent peace summit held in Saudi Arabia to turn countries against Russia. There is a real plot around the topic of so-called peace negotiations, as well as attempts to turn everything upside down through pseudo-diplomacy, he said. Man, Lavrov to me sounds very smart. The West has been saying for months that this peace formula is the only basis for negotiations. It starts from innocent topics and then comes to the purpose for which it was concocted, inflicting a strategic defeat on Russia to restore the borders of Ukraine as they were in 1991, court-martial the Russian leadership, force Russia to pay reparations, and then mercifully agree to sign a peace agreement. He added, these are exactly the dirty methods the West uses, not only in relation to Ukraine, but in many other areas of global politics. He's 100% right. Last month, a summit was held in Jeddah on the Ukraine war. The conference was billed as a peace summit, but Russian officials were not invited. At the summit, Kiev was allowed to present its proposal with no counter from Moscow. In other words, we are dictating the terms of the peace agreement, which, again, Lavrov has said is really not peace at all. Lavrov also said the Kremlin is open to talks, and the Russian position has not changed. Moscow is demanding territorial concessions as well as Kiev's agreement to hold a neutral status and accept some demilitarization. Lavrov said all the balls are on the side of Kiev, explaining that Russia is waiting for Ukraine to open talks on terms acceptable to Moscow. Now, that's what's called diplomacy, and there is no diplomacy. Basically, it's the West, and it's their way, or there's no way. So it appears that this never-ending conflict, this is what it looks like now. It looks like another Afghanistan, another Vietnam, just going to keep going. And, the military contractors are happy. Their stockholders are happy. This is one aspect of the United States economy which remains strong. Unfortunately, the people in Maui still don't really have a solution to their problems. And we have all kinds of infrastructure issues here in the United States that nobody is addressing. I mean, providing for the common defense and promoting the general welfare. This is not what's occurring here. We are chasing monsters, and in effect here, we're just supporting a very corrupt country. And this is why Biden right now is under extra scrutiny, because he was in on this 10 years ago. Joe Biden was there making deals and setting this entire thing in motion. So in any event here, I think it's a breaking news headline that Russia says that the U.S. is at war against us. It's not even a proxy war. It's just a full-blown war. And of course, there has been no congressional action to declare war against Russia, but here we are. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back soon. So see you then.